Good evening and welcome to the April 10th, 2025 school committee meeting. We've just returned from executive session. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order with a roll call of school committee members. Michelle Kirkby here.
Will Horn here.
Sophia Viglis here.
Thank you. And congrats and welcome to Sophia. Excited to have you guys here. Sorry that you're spending this on your birthday, but we'll go fast. Okay, so our first order of business will be appointing a new vice chair. We'll be looking for a nomination and a second, and then we'll vote. Do I hear any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Diana Frischella for vice chair.
Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Do I hear any additional nominations for vice chair? Okay, Diana Frischella has been nominated for vice chair. All in favor?
Should we just have our names?
Sure. Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Will Horn, yes.
Sophia Viglis, yes.
All right, congrats, Diana. At this time, I'd like to open public input. Members of the public are welcome to comment during the public input, either here or through Zoom. If you're on Zoom, please raise your Zoom hand. We ask that you keep your camera on when making a Zoom comment and that you follow school committee policy for public input, including speaking for no more than 3 minutes and only on topics under the purview of the school committee. And whether you're here in person or on Zoom, please state your name and address for the record. Do we have anybody here who would like to make public comment? Is there anybody on Zoom raising their hand?
Zero attendees.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Tonight we have the approval and retention of 3/27/2025 and 4/4/2025 executive session minutes, approval of 3/27/2025 regular meeting minutes, Medfield High School Student Award for graduates. Actually, I'm going to have you do these.
We do it? Happy to do it. One is the David Medeiros Theater's Memorial Award for $1,500. Two MHS Theater Society Awards, $250 each for a total of $500. One Student Council Award for $500. Two Unsung Leader Awards, $150 each for a total of $300. 13 National Honor Society Awards for $250 each for a total of $3,250. 4 National Honor Society Awards, $350 each for a total of $1,400. One Hunter Williams Scholarship Award for $1,000. 2 Lasting Legacy Yearbook Awards at $500 each for a total of $1,000. And 2 Yearbook Staff Initiative Awards, $500 each for a total of $1,000.
Okay, thank you. So before we vote, I actually think I'm going to pull and retain the executive session minutes for March 27th because you weren't here, so we don't really have enough to vote for the March 27th one, but you did attend the April 4th one. Okay. Is there anything else from the consent agenda that needs to be edited or removed before we vote? No? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the executive session minutes from March 27th?
Are you doing the
And
regular
the regular
minutes
minutes?
Oh, well, I guess that's up to you. So that one you can vote on because you could have viewed and read the minutes, but the executive session you wouldn't have been able to do so. But I can remove both if you'd like. Do you want to remove both?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll remove both those then. So do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda, removing the regular minutes and the executive session minutes from March 27th?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. Okay, on to new business. Student advisory. Michael, I see you. I thought James was supposed to be here as well. Are you doing all 4 classes or just yours?
I am doing all 4 classes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
They're really letting you go out with a bang, huh? All right, Michael, you can start wherever you'd like. Just let us know what class you're reporting on.
Yeah. All right, good evening. My name is Michael Roth. I'm the representative to the school committee for the class of 2025. I will start with my own class. So the class of 2025, we just wrapped up a fundraiser selling the class of 2025 hats and t-shirts. This is a fundraiser to raise money for launch and just the end of the year events for seniors, which we are all very excited about, kind of as the year's slowly coming to an end. Another exciting thing in our class is that we at the start of quarter 4 now have started senior projects. So a part of our class who have decided to do a senior project, they're no longer in the building, only for AP classes and music. And these senior projects look various and for many different students. There are murals, internships at schools or at the town hall. Some people are writing children's books, graphic novels. Some are creating music albums. So it's really a great opportunity for the seniors to kind of get a different experience out of the school than just sitting in a classroom. And from what I've heard, they're all having a great time learning and kind of having a different experience for their last quarter of the senior year. And yeah, other than that, we're just excited about kind of college and all the things that come with the end of senior year. So, sorry, give me 1 second. Now we'll move on to the class of 2026. So the class of 2026 has been busy focusing on planning prom. Prom is on May 2nd, and the tickets are on sale now. The class of 2026 also had their college fair trip to Boston, where a lot of the juniors went to the college fair and got to explore different opportunities for what they are able to do after high school. They're thankful for that opportunity and feel more prepared to either apply to college or whatever their next steps are after high school for next year. Now moving on to the class of 2027. The class of 2027 is hosting a Memorial Day bake sale at the Wheelock Fields. They hope to get some extra assistance from the other classes to maximize the profits. They're very excited, especially with the soccer tournaments being hosted at Wheelock. And then for the class of 2028, they just opened Medfield's, or they have items in the Medfield swag store. They have sweatshirts, shirts, raincoats, and sweatpants, all being sold online April 7th to 18th. All the proceeds are going to future class events. Other than that, the freshmen and sophomores also had a semi-formal dance in March that was put on by the student council. Student council did a good job with decorating and organizing, and it was a good way to start off the spring. So thank you to that.
Do you guys have any questions? So this is your last advisory with us. So I just want to thank you and your fellow members who are not here tonight for all your thoughtful contributions throughout the year, and best of luck ahead to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully if the others decide to return, we'll get to see them in the upcoming years. So thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Michael, you can stay if you want.
Yeah, last time.
Something came up.
Okay.
The beautiful weather. All right, so Dr. Marsden, I'll turn it over to you for the graduation requirement competency determination.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, the ballot initiative that was passed in November removed MCAS as a state requirement for the competency determination for seniors upon graduation. So interestingly enough, we feel like DESE was kind of caught on their heels a bit with this. I'm not sure they prepared for the motion to pass, and there's been a lot of discussion around at the state level what's going to happen going forward. So essentially, every school district had to put together what their graduation requirements are, and their CD is for students that graduate. We've been looking at it now for months. I know Robert and Heather have been talking the job alikes in different high schools and what they've been looking at. There's also a task force that's been set up by the governor, including educators, politicians, parents, students, et cetera, that is looking at what that competency determination will be going forward. And then in a parallel track, the Board of Education is also looking at that, what's going to happen with the competency determination. So what we'll present to you tonight is really a focus on the class of 2025, and this would be a one-year solution for us as we await to see what the state is going to come down with, because we feel like probably before the class of 2026 comes, there'll be a new mandate from the state on what this looks like and what it needs to be. So I know Robert and Heather are here tonight to kind of go through that with you. And in conversation with Michelle when we were preparing the agenda, I know she recommended that we vote on this, you folks vote on this in May, not tonight, but this will be a good chance to get the overview and understand what our plans are and what we would like to present to you for the the CD and the graduation requirements, so.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. Robert Parga, the principal here at the high school. I'm with Heather Mendoza. Heather is one of our 2 assistant principals. Heather oversees a lot of what we do from the academic side of things. So as Dr. Marston said, she has been working with us closely as we have been in the process of determining what our competency determination will be for the high school. As Dr. Marsden noted, things sort of shifted last November with the ballot 2 question. The ballot 2 question amended the competency determination requirement to remove the state-approved assessment tool that we know as MCAS as a method of determining competency. And as Dr. Marsden noted, the time frame has shifted for this, and what we ended up doing, which is what pretty much every high school is doing, is creating a determination for this year's class only. We do expect some guidance perhaps this summer into next fall. I do expect you'll probably see us next year at some point presenting maybe the exact same thing, I'm not sure. But we wanted to make sure we had things covered for this year. So what you see there in the document is what we have put together for the competency determination. So prior to October, our students had to pass a series of courses over their 4 years here at Medfield High School, and I'll go over those in a second, in addition to receiving a passing score in the biology, English, and math MCAS in grades 9 and 10. Obviously, the MCAS piece has been removed. So if we look at sort of what the academic requirements are for our students, and nothing has changed from, I think we were talking about this today, it's probably been the same number of credits for about 20-some years at this point. So our students need to have a total of 115 credits over their 4 years at the high school, and you can see there kind of how it breaks down. 20 credits in English, so it's 5 credits for a full year class. So you can see 4 years of English they had to have passed. 3 years of social studies, 3 years of science, 3 years of math, 2 years of world language, and so forth. So that criteria has not changed. What has changed is sort of what's below that, which is a competency determination. As we said before, that used to be MCAS, but without MCAS there now as a requirement from the state, we had to sort of address that need. And, these are conversations we've had with a bunch of high schools in the area. I think they all pretty much look the same for the most part. And most of the schools in the area attacked it the same way in putting together a determination plan for the class of 2025 only. So Heather's going to talk a little bit more about the competency determination that we've come up with.
Hi, everyone. So for the members of this senior class, the things that we're talking about expecting in their competency determination would be that they would complete and pass 9th and 10th grade English, which mirrors what MCAS would have done. Complete and pass 9th and 10th grade math, and we want to make sure that it's geometry and then Algebra 1 or Algebra 2, depending on what they come into the high school already having taken. And then one of the core science classes, so it could be biology, chemistry, or physics. And this mirrors what was put into effect with the class of 2022 when there was emergency action taken. So we just felt like this was a good model to go with. And then the students who don't meet these requirements, either by credit or by grade in passing the course, we'll continue to monitor, as we have always done, to make sure that we have all of our students ready for graduation at the end of the year. So our students are in good shape at this point, based on hopefully what we get approved.
Heather, we didn't have any issues in 2022 because that was the year, that was when kids didn't take MCAS because of COVID.
Right.
We had to do a determination, and this is similar to what we did, or the same.
It's the same. So
there were no
we
issues
had to
there.
go through and just verify that all the students had taken something that represented the Mass State framework. So this would be the same basic practice. I don't know if the state is going to give us a portal again, but internally we've already started working on making sure that our students are in good shape. So yes, it's exactly the same. So that class, because of their sophomore year, the tests getting canceled, they did not have to go back and take their tests again. we did offer the test for students who still wanted scholarship and the seal of biliteracy, just, so it was offered later, but the state took it off of their competency determination that year.
You guys have any questions?
Yeah, to be clear, like, to do the stuff on top, right, you need four English classes, like 3 history plus we're not, to do that, you have to do the things on the bottom, right? Like, if we're saying they have to complete 9th and 10th grade English, they have to do that anyway, right?
Generally, it just would be students who moved in, we'd want to make sure that their curriculum aligns with what our expectations are, but yes.
Okay, so that.
Yeah, any
'cause,
student who's been
these
through.
things just say the same thing, right? Like, there's no way to do the top without doing the bottom, right?
You can earn credits in science and not have taken the science that are required. We're saying that there's certain science classes that are required.
You could take
You take
electives.
3, okay.
I mean,
Is that what you're
it's
saying?
not
You
your,
could take
it
that-
wouldn't be typical, but if you did an environmental science, because you're coming from maybe a different high school, a different state,
Yeah.
you could do earth science, you can do, there are different ways, so we just want to make sure that they've met,
Okay.
But yes, generally, most of our students, by the end of their sophomore year, will have met this requirement.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like passing MCAS at the end of the
Yep,
sophomore year.
yep,
Yeah,
most
that-
of our
it's
students by
just-
the end of
it's just
sophomore year.
like
Yeah, it's just a
funny
lot of
to me
words
that
that
we have
basically
to-
say they're
They're
gonna do
doing
fine.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So then if a student transfers in and doesn't take the same sequence,
Mhm.
it sounds like, for the way I'm reading it, is like the administration sort of determines competency?
Yep,
Okay.
so we have a student this year who's from out of state. We just made sure that everything that she had taken out of state, in all of her years leading up to this year, matched what our expectations would be. So we had the department chairs look at her different courses.
And you said you're gonna look, so for our current kids, we're a month away or whatever. Like, are they all good? Like, there's no surprises, or have we
They
already?
happen to all be good based
Right.
on this, yes.
Right, okay.
You looked hesitant there.
Yeah, no,
saying that
no, the
others
state
may
didn't
not be.
allow, so the state didn't allow students who were in this class to take the science MCAS. So the student who came in as a senior wasn't allowed to take the MCAS this year. So that's why, we needed to move to something that,
Right.
would work for all of our students who were graduation, diploma-bound students.
Okay.
Yes, they will be walking across the stage on May 31st, shaking some hands.
All right, thank you.
That doesn't hinder them in any way by us voting on it in May, right?
It doesn't hinder you folks if they vote in May, right?
At our next meeting. I can look at the date.
No, when's your next?
Let's see.
I would imagine we would need to have been voted on before graduation.
Definitely before graduation,
That's
right.
at the end of May, I think your meeting.
Our meeting's not.
Did you guys say?
I
Graduation
think
is
it's this
May
22nd.
5th.
Oh,
Wait, oh yeah, we can vote on it May 5th.
May 5th, yeah.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
vote on that, okay.
And then we'll just work very closely with kids who, if you change your
We'll
mind.
meet before
Yeah.
town. We can have one agenda item,
Yeah, we can do that.
that's
great.
22nd feels too late.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can vote on that May 5th.
Please don't do that to me,
We're
right?
allowing-
Some item.
Half-hour meeting.
Some item.
Great, awesome,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Leo.
Leo?
Apologize. It was a big French night over at the middle school tonight, so.
Oh, that's exciting.
But it doesn't start till 6:30, so I just had to unlock the car so my daughter could finish her homework in the car out there in the parking lot.
If you wouldn't mind, if we go back to the consent agenda, I think we can approve minutes now. So I'd like to make a motion to approve and retain March 27th, 2025 executive session minutes, and also approve March 27th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then Sophia, you can just say abstain.
Abstain.
Good? Got it. Great.
Welcome on
Thanks.
board, Sophia. Perfect.
Okay. All right, next up, we have the Medfield Teachers Association Unit B successor contract. Earlier this evening, in executive session, the committee met to discuss Medfield Teachers Association Unit B successor contract, and the committee would like to announce that we voted on a Unit B contract extension for 1 year. The vote was unanimously supported. Prior to this, both parties agreed to negotiate a 1-year and a 3-year contract Similar to our Unit A negotiations in the past, we agreed on the 1 year, and we will reopen negotiations for the 3-year contract in May. Okay. Any comments or things to add there? No? Okay. On to the FY24 end-of-year independent audit report. Dr. Marsden? Will's on Zoom.
I'm on, there's no one, just Orla's on there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Michael is here to go over the independent audit, which happens each year on our budget. So Michael can give you the
Okay. So our end-of-year report, as the superintendent stated, it gets audited every year by the town auditors, which consist of many schedules. So the Schedule 1 and 3 are the main schedules where the information is inputted into Schedule 1 and 3. And then you have Schedule 4, 7, 19, 18, 19, 20. Yes, I think those are all of them. So if you looked at our independent audit, all our information was in there. There was one minor finding that one of the grants, I believe, revenue side, wasn't inputted into Schedule 4. It was in Schedule 1 and Schedule 3, but it wasn't in Schedule 4, so we made an addendum to our end-of-year report, made that correction, and submitted that to the Department of Education. So, but if you looked at the audit report, that was the only minor finding in the report.
It looked
Good
exciting.
job.
Yeah.
Well done, Michael.
All right.
I unfortunately know what it's about now, so I appreciate it more, Michael.
Thank you.
It is a bear, for sure. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Next up, we have the annual town meeting warrant articles 25 and 26. Let's see. So at town meeting this year, the school committee is co-sponsoring 2 articles. Let me get to them. All right. So Article 25, elementary school feasibility study finding. This will be, the town will vote to transfer $400,000 from free cash to the Medfield School Building Committee for the purpose of paying feasibility study. So basically, we have some money that's been put aside the last 2 years.
Yes, last 2 town meetings.
And so this will, this additional $400,000 will get us to close to 1.5 million, and that will allow the school building committee to do the work of the feasibility study. It may not be 1.5 million, so any additional money would go back, but that is roughly what it's looking like it could be. And then Article 26 is the elementary school tax mitigation stabilization fund appropriation. So this will see if the town will vote to transfer $900,000 from free cash into the elementary school tax mitigation stabilization fund for the purpose of paying debt service payments. So this is last year this fund was established, and you need to put money into the fund now that we've created it, and this will be used to offset taxes for the first couple years once we do approve a school. So this is going to be used kind of as like a tax relief for the first couple years. So the school committee is co-sponsoring these articles. Do we have any questions on any of the articles?
No, they were as expected. I'm still glad that they started putting money away into free cash for that. So
Yeah.
even though it's a small number, it still shows something. So
Okay, so we need to vote to sponsor these? Is that what we're voting on? Okay. So I'd like to make a motion for the school committee to sponsor Article 25 and Article 26. Article 25, elementary school feasibility study funding. Article 26, elementary school tax, pardon me, school tax mitigation stabilization fund appropriation for the town meeting on May 5th, 2025.
so moved.
Second?
Sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. All right, other items since posting? I've got some things, I'm good to go.
I don't have any, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, next up, budget update. Dr. Marston?
Sure. In your materials, you have a memo that Michael had sent me earlier in the week that talked about budget implications and recommendations of the Unit B contract. So Michelle can attest to the fact that when we were in conversation with Unit B, one of the things that we had a set amount in our FY26 budget allocated towards Unit B. The proposal that they had made, and we'd gone back and forth, the proposal that was agreed upon by the school committee and by Unit B was more than what we had allocated. So we were very clear during that process that if that were the case, then we'd have to make further reductions, and the gap was $67,663 for FY26. So as Michael put down, these are the potential, these are the recommendations that we have that we would, to close that gap of 67,000 and just, make it whole so that we're still at that exact same amount that you folks voted the last time. So the recommendations are, number one, high school Mandarin, reduce the Mandarin position by 0.2 due to low enrollment, and this was recommended by Medfield High School administration. We've looked at it. This is a shared position with both the Blake Middle School and the high school, and we do have some low enrollment and can combine some classes, so we're able to reduce by 0.2, one whole section, FTE. And then looking at library assistants, right now we have a 0.7 library assistant at Memorial. We'd like to reduce that by 0.1, so that big person becomes 0.6. Reduce the middle school, which is currently at 1.0, reduce that by 0.3 to 0.7. And then reduce Dale Street, which is 1.0, and reduce that by 0.4, so that becomes 0.6. So that would lead us to have 1.0 at the high school, 1.7 at Blake, and then the 3 elementary schools would be consistent at 0.6 library assistant support. And then the last one, Wheelock is the only building that has 2 general assistants, and it's 2 full-time, general assistants. And this reduction brings the staffing in line with the other schools. And one of the general assistants is currently reassigned and role working with the students, and then that person will continue that role into the next school year. So no one loses their job in this. There's some reductions, but the elimination of number 3, the general assistant, that person rolls into a job at Wheelock School, so there's no loss of position. But that is what we're proposing to close the $67,663 gap for FY26. And Michael and I are happy to answer any questions you might have or any other ideas.
Now's a good time for ideas.
I think the important thing is everyone stays employed too. It's not, we're not losing positions, so that's really important.
I would imagine that a 0.1 reduction is that someone's in that position as a love of the position more than anything, so 0.1 was not a
Well,
deal
0.1,
breaker for them.
they're 0.7, so reduce it by 0.1, so that, they're 3.5 days now, so they go to 3 days.
Yep.
So I think, it makes a lot of sense for all 3 elementary schools to have the same number too, to be 0.6.
Gotcha.
And then based on the number of kids in Blake and the high school, it just goes up with the number of kids, so 0.7 and 1.0.
Before I make a motion, is there anybody online? Sorry, I didn't check earlier when we were voting for anything.
There's nobody online at all.
Oh, okay. I'd like to make a motion then to approve the recommended budget reductions.
You want this one? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the mobile phone social media task force.
So we have our next meeting on Monday.
Okay.
So we haven't had a meeting, so our next meeting in May we'll have an update. But I know the groups have been working, and we'll get to it on Monday.
Okay. So technically, this task force had 2 school committee members on it. And now that Tim's not on the school committee members, there's only 1 school committee member. So the first thing I wanted to do is see if anybody had any interest in joining. On behalf of the school committee, this wouldn't be we have to have 2 people. This is more an opportunity if somebody wanted to be involved, they could join the task force. We're all good right now? Okay, great. Second then, Tim has expressed an interest in staying on to continue the work. From a town standpoint, there is a precedent set that from other boards and committees where terms have ended and individuals have stayed on to continue to do the work they were doing on behalf of the committee. Warrant committee has done this with 2 separate individuals. The select board has also had a former select person continue to do work on their behalf. So I wanted to get people's thoughts on keeping Tim on in this space as he has
On the
expressed
Municipal
interest
Task
to do
Force?
so. Yes,
I think that's a great idea.
agreed.
How much time is left in it?
Well, it's going to go through the year probably. So
Through this?
Through the
Like-
calendar year and then next year
like
too.
through
Oh.
next year.
Okay, gotcha.
It's unique in that it's such a big thing right now. Like Jeff said, we just got in our groups and we're trying to come up with like short-term goals. So we only have 2 more meetings. We only meet once a month, so it goes by pretty fast. But we'll try to have some recommendations for, I guess, us and like for the retreats, like our retreat. But the task force will continue on next year. So
Okay.
it will go probably through next school year.
Definitely.
I mean,
Definitely.
So if you get interested next year, maybe.
Yeah, I thought there were only 2 left, so I was like, to
No.
join for 2 more, like,
No,
that
we'll
doesn't make
keep
sense.
going.
But,
Well,
okay.
Tim can go, and we could still send somebody else if you're interested. I mean,
Correct. Yeah.
Right, so we're good keeping Tim on then?
Yeah.
Or are there any objections? Maybe that's the better question. I don't think so. I just wanted to have a discussion about it. Okay, on to the SBC. Do you want to do this one?
Sure.
Great.
Happy to do it. So we had our meeting last week. We've been meeting the first Monday of each month. We went through a pretty quick agenda on Monday night, talked a little bit about the education profile, which is one of the things that we need to submit as part of Module 1 to MSBA. We presented a draft. Steve, Michael, and I had put together, got some feedback from the members of the SBC, and we're making some corrections and changes based on that. We're gonna bring back a completed one, draft number 2, to the May meeting, and hopefully get the blessing there so we can upload that and send it to MSBA. Yesterday, we had a meeting with MSBA. It was more of a kickoff meeting with Carly and Jennifer Flynn, just kind of going over everything that's due for Module 1 and when they're due and what we have to do for each one, and they answered any questions. So it was really good, pretty informative, but kind of what MSBA does is, as you hit each module, they set aside time so that you can ask questions about each part of the module, and then if you need additional help or support, they'll do that for you. So it was like a half hour yesterday?
Yeah, it was.
So it was Michelle and I, Mike and Meredith as co-chairs, Michael was there as well, Eileen Murphy as select board member, and Christine Treeweiler as town administrator. So I thought it went really, really well. I think we're in great shape as far as Module 1. We just need to, dot some i's, cross some t's on things. But the 270 days started April 1st, which gets us into December 21st. We feel like we'll be done in June with everything. So that's kind of our goal, to have everything submitted and done by June. So I think we're in good shape for that.
Yeah. Anything to add, Leo?
Sorry, I missed it. Kickoff of our teacher negotiations.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, nice, okay. Okay. And then there's a plug to attend town meeting, so I'll plug that here as well. Go to town meeting, it's on May 5th. All right, community engagement and communication. So Sophia, you still do a lot of stuff at Wheelock, right? Okay, so Tim was the Wheelock rep on behalf of the school committee, so I feel like it feels natural for you to take over that
Yep,
space.
that makes sense.
Does anybody have any updates from their schools or organizations that they're partnering with?
Fortunately not. I've been conflicting with my CPAC meetings, but they've had some great speakers. CPAC has done a great job over the last 2 years with their speakers and their engagement. So
Yeah, they've done a lot of good work.
yep.
Yeah, I've not been great matching up my schedule with the middle school on either, but in the informational items there is like a big thing for the middle school.
Sure, yeah.
That was like, a problem we had around that trip was getting funding, so that being in there is like, they're doing a great job, and I'm sure they are, but I've not been attending meetings.
They flipped their times to mornings, so that was more difficult to attend. So.
I was excited to see that the Lions were partnering.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, no,
yeah,
to
that's very
cover that
cool.
financial gap as the
Yeah.
cost keeps
Really
going up
great.
is awesome. And that was like the biggest goal, I think, at the end of last year and this year for all of those parents on the middle school committee. So they did a great job figuring it out so our kids can still do that trip.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
And how did Medfield Talks go?
Medfield Talks was great. We had a really good crowd that came, probably over 50 anyway, that came. And it's, when Dr. Thompson and I were talking, it'll be 9 years in October since he's been back, since his first time he came here, and we were talking about how much everything has changed since then. He was really impressed with the turnout. He said post-COVID, he's not getting many people at all. He told a story to me that school in Palo Alto flew him out, put him up in a hotel, did everything for 3 or 4 days. He worked with the staff, worked with the students, and then he had the night meeting with parents. They had 175 people RSVP, and 31 showed up. So he was very happy that we had over 50, and really good questions from parents. I know I'd mentioned to a couple of you, it was just so different than last time. Last time there was so much discussion and concern around academic pressure from parents. And it's almost flipped in a way that the concern was more about kids getting involved in club sports and travel teams and how much stress that's putting on families. And it was really interesting to see how much it's changed. But I think people got some really good concrete suggestions on how to handle some of these things and how to work through as a family. He's a wonderful a wealth of knowledge. He went 90 minutes straight at 77 years old. Didn't miss a beat. He was fantastic and just an impressive guy, and hopefully we can have him back again real soon. So that was really good. So I did mention that night at the end that we're going to look at doing a fall, winter, and spring next year. So we'll have 3, which is what we used to do before COVID. We had 3 different events. So we'll get the group together again and start planning for that.
Okay. And then I think MCPE is also bringing in somebody next week, right?
Right.
Belonging in Medfield on Tuesday, April 15th at 6:30.
Right. Dr. Amaker and I can't remember the other person's
Wadsworth.
name. Thank you.
Yeah.
So those folks had done some training with us, the entire staff, on a release day last year. So this is their follow-up to the community. They've done a lot of work in a lot of schools, in a lot of businesses actually. So this was their community workshop that they're doing that they had planned to do earlier, but schedules got a little messed up. So talking a lot about belonging and how parents and students can get together and really focus on belonging, kind of foster that in the community. So I think last check, we checked later, there was about 41 people signed up, so that's good.
Okay.
So there's still some time, so I know we'll probably send something out again about it, reminders. But thanks to MCP for sponsoring that,
Yes.
and the high school PTO for paying for Michael Thompson as well.
Yep.
And
Great
Janie
stuff.
Boylan was wonderful. She organized it, scheduled it, and did a great job with it, so I wanted to thank her too.
Anything else? Maeve, you have any updates down there?
Michael covered most of it, but another update for student council is we have a 8-hole mini golf course on Sunday, raising money for the Jimmy Fund, which should be fun. So yeah, hoping people will come to that.
How did Kindness Week go?
Good, it was great.
Anybody have anything else for informational items?
Just a few things that were in the packet. The tech Q3 report was in there. I also wanted to mention the Medfield Lions golf ball drop. I just really want to thank them for helping us out. All proceeds for the fundraiser will go to defray costs for the 8th grade trip to New York City and Washington, D.C. So I just want to really thank the Medfield Lions for thinking about us and thinking about our kids and raising money. And then also in your materials is the enrollment spreadsheet for this month. So you see enrollment is kind of up and down by a few kids. But we do that each month. So every couple of months we try to put that in there for informational items. So.
And did I see that the girls' state champ volleyball, basketball, and hockey are being honored at Fenway on April 23rd?
That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up.
All right. Anyone have anything else?
I'm happy to see we have a new principal at Wheelock.
Yes.
That was my last thing.
Yeah.
If I could, I just.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, please. It was just, I just wanted to reference the newsletter
That's how I
that
got
we
it.
sent out that has all the information about Kevin Madden. Just really happy that we were able to hire Kevin as our new principal after being in Sharon since 2011. I think he's going to be an awesome fit. He had a great visit here when he was interviewing, and reference checks were phenomenal. So just really excited about having Kevin here. And he's going to actually be here in May and do the May staff meeting at Wheelock to introduce himself to the teachers. He's going to meet with teachers all summer, meet with parents, kids, everybody in the summer. So looking forward to having having Kevin aboard. And he really enjoyed the culture and got a great feeling. I mean, he was a finalist in 4 different places that week and got offers from 2 schools that week and us. So really happy that he chose us. We're excited about that.
talked about, Holly's going to invite him to Community Day as well.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Okay,
that's good.
perfect.
Okay,
That's great.
that would be great.
That's a really good opportunity.
Yeah, we
That's great.
were planning it on Friday and
Excellent.
That's awesome.
we realized, but hopefully he can come.
Anything else? All right, so we will have our school choice hearing on May 22nd. We'll vote on the graduation requirement on May 5th. Our next meeting will be May 5th, right before town meeting. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Give the new person opportunity. Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Going by